Welcome to Storytime presented by Be Empowered Media. Today, I want to tell you a fictional and empowering story about James. Please enjoy this inspirational story and remember to subscribe to this channel for more motivational content. James Holloway grew up in the heart of Rochester, New York, where the winters were brutal and dreams felt distant. His mother raised him and his two younger siblings alone, working double shifts as a nurse's aide. His father had vanished when James was a toddler. By the age of 17, James was working odd jobs, stocking shelves, sweeping warehouses, delivering food, anything to help out at home. They didn't have much, but they had each other. He never imagined he'd be rich. He used to laugh at people who thought they'd win the lottery. But every now and then, when he had a few extra bucks, he'd grab a New York State lotto ticket, look at the sky and say, "Why not me?" One day, the impossible happened. It was a cloudy Wednesday in March when James found out. He was sitting in his tiny apartment after a long shift at the loading dock, scratching off the numbers with a coin. First number, match. Second number, match. All of them match. $100 million. He blinked, checked again. Same result. James Holloway had just become a multimillionaire. News cameras followed him for days. A local rags-to-riches story. A working-class kid who hit the jackpot. Everyone cheered for him. Friends from high school reached out. Distant cousins he hadn't heard from in years reappeared. Even former teachers emailed congratulations. James chose the lump sum payout. After taxes and fees, he walked away with $60 million. More money than he could have ever imagined. He told himself he'd invest, save, and help his family. And for a while, he did. He paid off his mother's mortgage, bought her a nicer home, and gifted his siblings trust funds for college. But James was also curious. He'd lived humbly for so long, he wanted to explore life. He moved to Manhattan and bought a luxurious penthouse. Then another place in Miami. Lamborghinis, a Rolls-Royce, and a custom Bugatti followed. Clothes, watches, art pieces, furniture. Top of the line, all of it. He was now rubbing shoulders with athletes, musicians, and models. The parties started small, champagne, a few friends, catered dinners. But they quickly spiraled into massive blowouts with hundreds of people. DJs, performers, celebrity appearances. Drugs appeared. Cocaine, ecstasy, heroin. Alcohol poured like waterfalls. James dabbled, then indulged. And soon addiction took root. Prostitutes became part of the scene. Dozens of them. Some stayed around for months, others for nights. There was no shortage of women who were happy to keep him company, as long as the money flowed. James never questioned their motives. He thought it was love. The high life consumed him. He was renting out entire hotel floors, flying private jets to the Caribbean on a whim, spending $500,000 on a weekend just to feel alive. His new friends cheered him on. "Live it up, King," they said, and he believed them. Soon, James began using needles. He told himself it was safer than snorting, cleaner, but he was sharing with others during after-parties, too high to think twice. His old friends from Rochester tried to reach out, but he ghosted them. "They wouldn't understand," he'd say. "They're just jealous." His financial advisors warned him his spending was unsustainable. James fired them. Negative energy, he claimed. A few loyal people stayed around and tried to help. But James now trusted only those who told him what he wanted to hear. He bought a yacht, only used it twice. Bought a nightclub, lost it within a year. Invested in a music label with zero experience and got scammed. Slowly, the once endless stream of cash began to dry up. At his peak, James was burning through over $1 million every month. By the fifth year, his accounts were nearly empty. James didn't notice right away he was still partying, still living in luxury. But the signs crept in. The IRS sent notices. The mortgages defaulted. The credit cards were maxed. The staff he employed quit or sued for unpaid wages. When he tried to sell one of his penthouses, he found it had liens he didn't even know existed. And then came the illness. He began losing weight rapidly. His energy drained. He suffered night sweats, persistent fevers, swollen lymph nodes. A doctor's visit brought the crushing truth. James had AIDS, likely contracted years ago and left untreated. It had progressed severely. He was devastated. The money was gone. The lifestyle was over. He could no longer afford the expensive medications needed to suppress the disease. The women vanished. The fake friends stopped answering calls. People who once called him family now blocked his number. He sold off the last of his jewelry and cars to pay for meds. But it wasn't enough. Without proper care, his body began to deteriorate. He looked nothing like the vibrant young man who once stood in front of cameras with a giant check and a beaming smile. James ended up in a shelter on the outskirts of Brooklyn. Too weak to work. Too broke to move. Forgotten by everyone who once praised him. He died in a public hospital at age 34. Alone. No funeral. No press coverage. No one from his former life came to claim his body. A nurse who'd cared for him contacted his mother. She quietly took his ashes home to rest in a small urn on her dresser. Summary and final reflection. James Holloway's story is a tragic lesson dressed in the disguise of success. He won what many only dream of, a fortune that could have transformed generations. But without guidance, wisdom, or discipline, that blessing became a burden. He mistook excess for freedom. He believed attention was loyalty. He assumed money would shield him from consequences. In reality, it magnified every weakness he had until it consumed him entirely. When James got sick, there were no crowds, no women, no brothers, no glamorous parties. The people who once begged to be near him vanished the moment he had nothing to offer. In his lowest moment, he realized too late that what he truly needed couldn't be bought. Health, wisdom, real love, and peace. Let his life be a warning. Money is a tool, not a purpose. It reveals character more than it changes it. If you are lost, it will help you lose yourself faster. If you're grounded, it can amplify your impact. Wealth without discipline is like fire in the hands of a child, powerful but dangerous. Don't wait until it's too late to ask the right questions. Who are your real friends? What do you stand for? What kind of life do you want to build when the cameras are off and the party ends? James Holloway won the lottery, but he lost the one thing more valuable than all the money in the world, himself. Let his story be your mirror. Choose wisely, be humble, and build a life that can't be auctioned, poisoned, or forgotten.